What's up, guys? Sam Powerlifts here. Today we're going to be talking about how you can grow your bench press and get a little bit stronger. In the beginning of 2023, I was benching about 275 pounds for my 1 rep max. And now, as of February 2024, so 13-month span, I'm up to 335 pounds. So that's a 60-pound jump in my bench press during that time. And I was already doing a lot of things right. I had the movement down pretty well, but there's a few little changes that I made. There was never really one big change that I made. There's just a few little ones, and we're going to be discussing during this what some of those little things are that can pay out some huge dividends. The first thing that you need to do is make sure that you bench often. Now, if you're trying to get better at a sport, you're not going to get better at that sport by playing a completely different sport. Maybe there's going to be some things that transfer, but in general, if you want to get better at benching, you need to bench often. Now, often is going to depend on what you can do, what your lifestyle is. For me, I go to the gym about 3 times a week because, I'm fairly newly married. I have a full-time job. I'm trying to get the YouTube thing off the ground. And so it's really just not conducive for me to go to the gym for 2 or 3 hours every single day. 3 days a week is what I can do. And so I make the most out of that. If you can go to the gym and you can bench twice, 3 times a week, and you can recover from that, then I see no reason why you can't. We'll talk a little bit more about recovery and how you can use that to gauge how hard you should be working, how often you should be working out. Another good thing that goes along with this is doing related compound movements. Some of my favorites are a strict overhead press or dumbbell bench press. Both of those are very good at targeting the same muscles and also getting stabilizers, especially if you're strict with the movement, because when you hit those stabilizers, they're going to strengthen, and ultimately as you start benching heavier, it's going to have less of a toll on your joints, which is something that a lot of people complain about as they start lifting heavier weights as their joints. But if you take care of the stabilizers, then you have less issues with that. My tip number 2 is to use heavy weight. Now, I'm not saying 1 rep max on every single set. I don't think that's wise. I think you're going to get hurt, and I don't think that's the best for building strength. From what I've found in my training, 4 to 6 sets of 3 to 5 reps is typically where I find the most growth. And you can't do that for a long stretch of time without expecting you're going to have some pain in your joints. So you need to utilize things like deloads. You need to make sure you're getting the proper nutrition, which once again we're going to talk about. And just don't be dumb. You have a spotter. Use spotting bars if you don't have a person to spot you, and just pay attention to your form, but just don't be stupid. Don't hurt yourself, please. Number 3 is to have proper recovery, and this has a couple of different aspects to it. Number 1 is nutrition. You need to make sure that you're getting the proper macronutrients. I feel like for me, before, what I used to do is I would go to the gym and then I'd come back and I'd just have a protein shake with water and just kind of forget about it. And I always felt kind of terrible after my workouts. And I always wondered why, and it's because I wasn't getting the carbs that I needed as well. You have glycogen stores in your muscles, and after you work out, those are depleted. And so it's very important for you to make sure that you are replenishing not just your protein, but you also need to be getting the carbs in so that you can replenish your glycogen stores. That's one of the reasons that I love Nitor's protein powders, is because they have a good amount of protein in them, but you also get some fast digesting carbs through the form of pure cane sugar. And that helps you to replenish your glycogen stores, and it helps you to recover better. If you're interested in picking some of that up, go ahead. Down below there's a link to nitorperformance.com. Use code SAM10 at checkout for 10% off, and it helps me out just a little bit. I would appreciate that. If you want to stick to your protein powder, there's a few other ways that you can get carbs in with your protein shake that I like. The first one is to add a packet of oatmeal into a protein shake. I know it sounds kind of weird, But hear me out on this one. My favorite to do is to make a chocolate protein shake how you would like normally with milk or water, I don't know, you choose, and then adding just like a little bit of extra liquid and putting in a strawberries and cream oatmeal packet. I don't know what it is. I tried it one day and it's amazing. Other ways to do that is to use juices depending on the protein powder that you have. I think the best way to do it though, honestly, is to just make sure that you're eating a good meal after your workouts. I know that if you work out, later at night, it can be hard to do that, but just nutrition is so incredibly important with recovery, and so it's important that you don't neglect that. Hydration is also critical with that. Kind of nutrition, kind of separate. I don't know. It's important. Stay hydrated. And then the other aspect is sleep. I used to go to work, work nighttime, come home at like midnight, and then wake up at 4:30 or 5 to go to the gym. And I was just getting torn apart by doing that day after day. I didn't really realize how important sleep was. And I had been told my entire life that sleep was really important, but I guess I never really realized it until I had been doing that for a few months. And I just realized that I felt destroyed all the time. Fast forward to now, I'm usually in bed by like 9:30. I know I sound like an old fart, but 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then I'm up at 5 or 6 in the morning, and I'm getting 7 or 8 hours of sleep consistently. And the amount of difference that makes in my life is unbelievable. I don't think I could ever go back to sleeping 4 hours a night. I know that there's times in our lives where sometimes we have to work those long hours and get less sleep. I know that, especially if you're a parent, that can be really hard. But I think for the sake of what we're talking about here, sleep is really important. And if you can hit 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single night, then you're going to see a difference in your performance. Number 4 is to put on more muscle. I know if you're a power lifter who's kind of, right on the edge of that weight class as is, this might not be the best option for you. This is something that I have experience with a little bit more recently. I was getting ready for the powerlifting meet that I did recently, and I was at about 250 pounds. The class that I wanted to go to was 242. And then the next one up is 275, which is 125 kilograms. And I was noticing that as I was cutting, I was just losing strength like crazy. Probably because I didn't have the proper nutrition, like we were just talking about. But I was losing strength like crazy. I had only lost about 3 pounds at that point, and I was just, my bench press was down like 15 pounds. My squat was down like almost 50. And so I was really frustrated, not really sure what to do. And I decided to bulk, and I put on about 15 pounds total in the 2.5 months that I was bulking. 10 of that from the scans that I got were muscle. And I started seeing my weights go up, and I PR'd on 2 of the lifts during the meet, and I PR'd several times during the bulk, and it was just really crazy for me to experience. I felt like I was getting way stronger as I was doing that. So that might be a good option if your main goal is to bench press or just to lift more in general, and weight's not necessarily an issue for you, then I would say go for it. I think that that's one of the best ways that you can make those improvements. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope there's things that I've said that you can implement into your training programs. And I hope that these things will help you get stronger. If you guys wouldn't mind, leave a like, a comment, subscribe to the channel, share this with a friend who has a poverty bench press. I don't know. I would really appreciate it. Helps me out. Once again, check the link down below for Nitor Performance. If you want to check out their protein, use that code. But I will catch you guys next time. See you later.